the government cannot even allow anybody to live below the quality of a good housing.
Yeah.
And we see how responsible the government is when it comes to building low-cost housing for their citizens.
Yeah.
Majority of the houses in the UK are built by the government. You hardly see they are developers, they are private developers who, just source for money and build houses. But majority of the housing in the UK is built by the government, and that's because they want to maintain a certain standard.
Yeah.
And sometimes I saw a particular construction somewhere in Manchester, I think about a 9 or 10 story building that was marked for demolition because the developer I think it crossed the line about 2 meters setback on the road and all that, and the government marked this for demolition. So they are so strict in terms of how you conform with their standards and you don't derail from the building plan that you were given. But we've seen that what happens here in Nigeria is the other way around. So a lot of developers cut corners, and that's why the victims of such incidents now becomes innocent real estate investors. I can tell you for free that the house that collapsed in Oruro last week, people have invested into that project, and now their investment has gone into the drain. So how do you think that this forthcoming Congress will help us provide more solution to our current housing deficits? Nigeria, we need to move away from this housing. We need to get to a point where that numbers will reduce drastically. So please, the Vice President, FIABCI Nigeria chapter, please, how do you think that this conference is going to help us?
Thank you so much for that wonderful question.
Yes,
there are so many factors that come to play.
Yes.
Leading to this deficit.
Yes.
For instance, how do people source for real estate financing?
Yes.
What's the interest rate for such financing?
Yes.
The people, if foreigners bring their funds into Nigeria, how do they repatriate such funds? What are the risks available, or what are the risks that they will face?
Yeah.
So one thing this Congress will do is, once we are able to showcase to these foreign potential investors that Nigeria is a place to be.
Yes.
I listened to one big business player saying that it is only in Nigeria that you can get the highest ROI on any real estate investment you can have. It's one of our big bankers that mentioned that this last week. So now, once we are able to tell them that we have lands, we have laws, we have policies that can protect their investments,
yes.
and we can assure them that once they put in their funds in Nigeria, they'll be able to get their returns, and they'll be able to get their funds back to their country. Yeah, there are so many things that will play out, we know, but we want to showcase to them that Nigeria is a place to be. Nigeria is calling them that, okay, we have a lot of foreign investments here. Yes. And they can bring their funds to Nigeria and build. So all these people, like I mentioned earlier, some of them have a lot of development out there, and we don't have them developing in Nigeria, but we can get them to come to Nigeria, partnering with our developers. Yeah, you made mention of the UK. Yeah, there are so many models most of these foreign companies are using.
Yes.
There are best practices. There are advanced technologies that they use in developing their real estate projects.
Yes.
We hardly have them here, or even if you have them here, the cost of embarking on such
cost, and in a country where we keep reviewing our interest rate upward, it makes it very difficult for investors.
Very difficult. Okay,
last year. Sorry to butt in. Last year, our interest rate was increased more than 3 times.
Wow.
Last year, within the space of 6 to 7 months. Yes. And it was a very topical discussion in the minds of people who understand the negative impact on an investment. So I don't know. Have you mentioned the venue of the conference?
Yes.
The venue, that's is coming up at Eco Hotel in Victoria Island. So it's happening right in the heart of Lagos. Yes. Also, very, very importantly, I know that in the nearest future, I'd like to have a particular conversation with FIABCI. Yeah. There's a certain guy on Instagram that goes about talking about why Nigerians shouldn't buy property in dollars. For me, I think that this is demarketing the real estate sector. So, can I get your opinion on that? And do you think that, this guy is actually, because for me, I see that guy, I see him as a charlatan, somebody who just comes online to look for content or chase clout. So what do you think that what this guy is doing, one Cots guy, what do you think is going to have a negative impact on the general views of the real estate market in Nigeria? Let me. I'll take your opinion on that, the vice president, and I'll also take the vice president, young professionals.
All right. Okay. To be honest, one way or the other, you might feel slighted by that, or you feel it's demarketing the real estate sector or the economy. But there's a current policy that's mandates that all transactions should be done in naira.
Yes.
And so for you to bring out or tell your buyers to pay in dollars, you might be contravening some laws of the country. Yeah. Okay. So now
I have a different opinion to that, but I'll address it.
Yes, I understand.
Okay. Let me get Ray's view on that.
I agree with him. I think it's actually better for the economy for us to do transactions in the naira.
Yes.
Right. It's just a reflection of us, how we think, and I feel like a lot of real estate, brokers or developers that transact in dollars, I feel like that means that doesn't reflect well. So
do you know that even when they are posted, even when they are advertised in dollars, do you know that at the point of consummation of payment, they pay in naira? Yeah. So a lot of times those things are posted on Instagram or wherever, or they are posted on Instagram or wherever in dollars because of foreign investors, for them to know that this is the worth of the property in dollars. Okay. It does not mean that at the point of payment they pay dollars.
Okay, let me also buttress what you have just said, because I lecture also, and this question was asked by one of my students, and one major point I raised was it depends on the source of financing.
Financing, yes.
Do you understand? If you've gotten your finances from outside Nigeria and your interest rate is denominated in dollars, yes, you might want to get the sale of that project in dollars. But note, as you have mentioned, yes, you can put the dollar, but please be careful because the FCC is watching. Yes, but the payment must be done in naira,
because Nigeria is a naira economy.
So as to edge against, I know a lot of people do that to edge against inflation or the volatility of naira at the moment. Yes, so that's what.
Let me also get Ray's opinion.
So it's important to also note the platforms that you're going to be communicating on.
Yes.
So if as a realtor or as a broker you have access to international platforms where you're going to be advertising Nigerian property investments, then you can put it in dollars on those platforms.
Yes.
Right? Because if you're talking to an audience in Europe, you're going to use their currency. If you're talking to an audience in the US, you use their currency. But when you're broadcasting here in Nigeria on to your audience who are primarily here, I think you should use the naira.
All right, so I think we can not overemphasize or overflog this matter. We've been in the studio with our friends from FIABCI. We've had the Vice President FIABCI Nigeria, Estate Surveyor and Valuer Ayodeji Odele, Fellow of the institution. I call him the youngest fellow. And we've also had the Publicity Secretary of FIABCI Nigeria and the Vice President FIABCI Young Professionals, Ray Obaigbo. Ray, on the lighter note, I know you are also a beauty queen.
I was.
Mrs. Nigeria.
Mrs. Nigeria, excellent. And definitely the beauty sure radiates all over you. So it's been a very wonderful time having you guys in the studio. I'm still your favorite host and anchor, real estate doctor. I think it's been a very wonderful time in the studio today. Till we come your way next time, stay blessed.
Are you ready?